Envision possessing infinite power and independence, yet constantly facing dangers from wars, illnesses, betrayals, and other misfortunes. Although it seems counterintuitive, Marcus Aurelius had to deal with that on a daily basis. An emperor who, in spite of his authority, had to deal with difficulties that anybody could sense helpless today. I'll share with you how he discovered an incredible counterbalance to discontent, a concept that changed my life as well as his. Before I begin, though, I would also like to thank each of you for your amazing support, your acts, which not only benefit me, but also bring us together on the path to examine knowledge that has the power to transform our lives. Let's learn together how the power of an emperor can motivate us to move on in life today as the story continues. It's interesting to consider why some people decide not to reply in particular circumstances where it may seem like you're walking on thin ice, yet someone's lack of answer does not indicate weakness or surrender. So how can you use this at first seeming rejection into a favorable change by the end of this video? You will be able to cope with apathy in an efficient manner and understand the potential of reverse psychology. To assist Ali in getting the person to change their mindset before we move forward, I would appreciate it if you could like this and turn on the notification bell. A small gesture can have a big impact since it makes the YouTube algorithm more intelligent. That you value our material, which will increase the film's exposure to more people. Let me start by saying how much I appreciate your support. Ignorance is crucial. Those who, in the face of aloofness and indifference, attempt to minimize your value, it's important to ignore them and move past these situations, not to let them depress you. Rejects you is a strong declaration of self-worth rather than an act of animosity. If someone thought your time was useless, you wouldn't be the one losing in that situation. By refusing to participate, you are actually reaffirming your own worth in the circumstance. It resembles holding up a mirror so that you may reflect and show that behavior like this has no effect on you. But how can we accomplish this without the solution is as simple as concentrating on your life, your objectives, and to find happiness. Engage in enriching pursuits like reading and sports. Gaining new knowledge or just spending time with those who appreciate you, not about getting even, but about focusing your efforts on what truly, yes, you will occasionally be neglected, but rather than letting this rejection consume you, use it as motivation to your growth as a person will boost your self-confidence and allow other people's apathy to affect you. As you dissolve in this empowerment, you're thriving despite rejection rather than just fighting it. This commitment to personal growth demonstrates emotional maturity. Your inner strength, remind yourself that others' incapacity does not lessen your value. Acknowledge it. Be loyal to who you are, and let your deeds speak louder than others' silence. Refrain from acting rashly, and instead choose to act thoughtfully. In difficult times, responding with grace and respect for yourself is a show of power and a declaration of your ability to bounce back from apathy. Second key point: detach yourself from them. This is an important skill to have. Instrument in your plan, remove them from your mind. Yet, this does not imply redirecting that anguish instead of ignoring or acting as though rejection doesn't hurt transformation into something that fosters your personal development. Start this process by acknowledging the rejection and experiencing its effects, but resist allowing it to control your thoughts like an experienced sailor in tumultuous waters. Rather than letting the waves slow you down, they help you move forward. Sink your boat to transform rejection. We have to adjust our perceptions of it. Sees rejection as a guidepost leading to new opportunities rather than a barrier. Roots and prospects. Commit yourself to pursuits that enhance your true self and expand your horizons. Take on a difficult book or play a sport that puts your support, or take part in neighborhood initiatives that provide innovative. Sometimes these experiences serve as platforms for human growth and self-discovery, rather than just being recreational activities. Growth. Every new experience strengthens your fortitude and flexibility. In addition to the necessity of creating favorable influences, encircle oneself with upbeat and inspirational people. You interact in a setting that encourages aspiration sharing, listening to theirs. Growth for both parties. It's critical to understand that being rejected does not determine your value. Symbolizes a call to reevaluate and remake oneself in this road. You'll come to understand that what at first appeared to be a painful rejection was actually a step towards a more fulfilling future. Third crucial point: steer clear of emotionally impulsive reactions. Steer clear of rash emotional reactions when you're rejected. It's normal to experience a surge of emotions that make you want to react and express your feelings, but there's an important method from the Guide to Serenity. When you're rejected, it could be easy to give in to annoyance or melancholy, but Stoicism, a philosophy much as applicable now as it was in classical Greece, gives us a different viewpoint and inspires us to take a contemplative and serene stance. This doesn't mean suppressing feelings, but rather avoiding letting when we ignore them. We become controlled rather than becoming agitated or looking outside validation pause, and consider how this affects. Frequently, it's our own fears that cause us pain more than the rejection itself. Reasoning is essential. If you feel like you're being ignored, take a deep breath and remind you are not defined by this moment. It is merely a fleeting occurrence. Stoicism teaches us to pay attention to our own deeds and emotions rather than other people's conduct. Therefore, we should be courteous, and in order to communicate with me, please do it in a serious and non-judgmental manner. Expectations. This position acknowledges that this is not pity, but rather emotional control. The actual source of power for you is not other people's approval, but rather how you. While developing this perspective is not simple, it is important to respond to how you are treated. Undoubtedly transformational. By remaining composed in the face of rejection, you are not simply handling a challenging circumstance while developing your understanding of your inner serenity does not rely on approval from others. Rather, it is a path towards self-assurance when self-worth is acquired on its own. By using this strategy, you exhibit real strength and tenacity, which by itself is incredibly. People who are attractive are naturally drawn to individuals who exude confidence and remain cool and do not allow the first trace of disinterest to destabilize you. Not only accept the circumstances, but also flourish in them, growing into a capable person of overcoming rejection and utilizing it as a driving force for personal development. A route to emotional equilibrium and self-strengthening known as Stoic wisdom is the fourth and most important component. Show your worth. This is a genuine test of your ability to resist and bounce back from setbacks. Rejection should be seen as a chance to show off your resilience and ability to absorb a serious hit if you're passed over for a promotion or at a meeting. Breathe. Instead of giving in to bitterness or self-pity, reroute that putting effort into constructive and positive acts, such as working on a project that displays your abilities or assume the initiative in a fresh task. Keep in mind that your worth is not weakened by others' lack of acknowledgement. Rather, it's a chance to shine even more brilliantly, unaffected by disdain. Remind yourself of the saying, "When one door closes, another opens." This saying doesn't just rejection serves as a guide rather than a reflection of your inherent worth, yet it can be comforting nonetheless. Whether you are not selected for a position, refer to where your talents are most needed. Use this as motivation to look for something more in line with your interests and abilities. Examine and realign your strengths, seeking opportunities to enhance them. It's time to write your own success story. using every setback as the setting for a victorious return. It's not about finding contentment in the face of disappointment, but also about accepting the entire spectrum of feelings and advancing with grace and tenacity. Stoicism leads us to concentrate on the things we can control, such as our behavior and how we respond to rejection. Develop empathy for others as well as for yourself, including any co-workers who may show up. Indifferent people may be struggling with their own issues. Broaden your perspective instead of not as a sign of weakness, but rather as a demonstration of your ability to overcome these events, validate your worth, help you reflect and learn, and like a phoenix, rise from the rejection does not mean the end of you. Instead, it makes you stronger and wiser. A pivotal moment in your life that drives you to become the most robust and genuine version of with the vigor of youth and the wisdom of the centuries. Face it yourself and observe. Turn your biggest fear into your strongest ally for personal growth. Fifth, crucial point, growth and success. Lower contact when faced with denial of the urge to attempt to remedy the situation, or indifference discussion with the other party trying to fill the vacuum. Left behind is common. However, this is the moment when you can shift the dynamics and embrace stillness. It's not about playing a game, it's about reaffirming your sovereignty by choosing not to inundate the other person with continuous messages or calls. Taking a step back is necessary, and this pause benefits not just the other person, but you as well. It's an opportunity to readjust and remind yourself that your worth does not depend on others. Approval. Diving more into this subject here, the quiet is not passive yet active and strategic. You're not merely waiting, you're reflecting and maturing. It's the time to shift your concentrate towards your goals, ambitions and personal life. Consider this a reset button that gives clarity and empowerment. This interlude of no touch is not an expression of icy or cruel behavior. Rather, it's the setting of boundaries for your own mental calm. You're making it very obvious that I value myself too much to pursue attention or grovel for it. Taking this posture is not only freeing, but also empowering. It conveys a lot about your confidence and sense of self-worth. Think about the strong, silent message you send in a society where people are used to quick answers. Your quiet can be mysterious and even alluring to demonstrate that you are not easily agitated and having a busy life with many interests and goals. It's not about triggering this rejection, remorse or retraction, but rather about proving that you are steadfastly committed. And without regard to outside validations, this tactic might not alter the behavior of others, but it will undoubtedly alter your own, making you more tenacious, concentrated and equipped to take on obstacles in the future with grace and as a kind of self-care and self-affirmation, balancing reducing contact. You are on the right track to advance in your life with self-assurance and honor. The sixth essential point, illustration of capability. The real skill of utilizing rejection is demonstrating your own abilities rather than only proving others incorrect. What really lies ahead for you is to use a rejection as motivation for your personal development, and overcoming if someone doubts your ability. Herein lays your chance to hone that particular ability. The objective is to push beyond your own limitations, not to win acceptance from others. Commit to studying, practice assiduously, and reach a level of proficiency that was before thought to be unachievable. This isn't a flashy demonstration for the doubters, but a quiet and steady improvement in your knowledge and confidence. Put your deeds above your words and remember that there's no need to publicly announce your goals or advancements. Let the outcomes speak for themselves. By doing this, you not only exceed others, but also, and this is very important, your own expectations. You're demonstrating to yourself that you are capable and valuable at every step of this path, regardless matter external viewpoints. This is where resilience's real power rests. It's not about winning others' approval, but in order to obtain your own self-acceptance, whether they describe you as without imagination, work on a project that highlights your creativity. If you're viewed as elusive, let your steady behavior speak for you in this silent revolution of instead than fighting against other people's opinions. Self-improvement is a path towards personal excellence. You transform yourself by altering the perceptions of others about you. In essence, proving someone incorrect doesn't mean altering their views, but in reframing your identity, your quest for self-improvement will not only astound, not only about demonstrating to others, but also about changing how they view your skills. Them incorrect, but reframing what it means to be correct, and to be on this journey. The biggest accomplishment is understanding that the only really meaningful validation is the seventh important point you assign to yourself. If it is, investigate it and have fun, is not only a kind of entertainment, but a way of life that actually brightens when we step outside of our comfort zone and seek joy. Clever tactic to increase resilience when facing rejection. The typical inclination could be to shut down and fester in resentment, but I propose a revolutionary approach: actively seek for happy situations to offset that instinct. It's important to give your feelings a fresh perspective rather than dismissing them. Prosper by taking up a new pastime or reigniting an old love becomes a declaration of resistance to rejection as a result of our innate social nature. Sharing experiences at difficult times has great power. Respect your neighborhood by taking friends on a walk, participating in a group creative project, or just sitting down to a meal. These times of connection in good company do more than just cheer you up. They reinforce your position in the network of human relationships by sharing a laugh with each other. Swapped tail serves as a subliminal reminder that you are more than the combination of your setbacks. Remember that you are a part of a larger story that thrives on connection and collective resilience. The genuine magic conference facing the unknowable rejection could appear to be a closed door, but in actuality, it opens up a lot more. Try a cuisine that's unfamiliar to you, a neighborhood you haven't been to, or register for a session on a strange. These encounters are more than just diversion. They present chances for personal growth. Each encounter adds nuance to your personality, enhancing your tolerant, sympathetic, and equipped to deal with life's uncertainties. Keep in mind that the objective is to progress from rejection, not to remove it from memory. It turns every rejection into a drive for a fuller, more colorful life. Eighth crucial point: evaluate the situation and develop your social status. Here, in a setting where you are either completely ignored or invisible, there is the Stoic idea of hidden opportunities, tells us how to turn these rejection moments around, becoming forces for one's own development as opposed to looking for approval from others. Put your attention on developing yourself and your community. It's not about climbing the societal ladder while moving up your own personal development ladder. Things like working out, pursuing hobbies, and developing your profession are not only mundane duties, but also instruments for building a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Consider expressing your experience for purposes other than getting attention. The relationship it can create while talking about your passions or accomplishments turns it into a chance to connect with people that share your interests. This process is not a method to get popularity, instead of a sincere search for meaningful relationships through volunteering. Engaging in events or networking doesn't only improve your reputation as you may creating a meaningful network of connections. This strategy has profound origins in Stoicism, which emphasizes improving oneself and serving the greater good. What really counts is how your intentions are entwined with how your social status develops. It's about improving yourself rather than trying to get popular. Every action should be taken to further one's own development and have a beneficial influence on the community. This shift in viewpoint is vital. Observing, growing, and not trying to stand out are more important than consequently encouraging others to grow. By embracing this Stoic mentality is a useful strategy for surviving in the contemporary society that makes rejection a strong force for good transformation. Seize every chance to develop and fortify your social status in a manner that is representative of your goals and identity. The ninth essential point: a significant influence on both you and the community around you. Embrace reciprocal apathy. When someone disregards you, the most effective and potent reaction is to just be silent. Responding with this mindset is about protecting one's inner peace rather than being cold or spiteful. Tranquilly, if someone decides to ignore you, don't waste your energy attempting to. Instead, spend your concentration on getting their attention or starting a conversation. In other social settings, such as parties, this can entail looking for someone who values your presence, and striking up a discussion with them is a recognition that your value is independent of other people. Pay close attention in the scenarios that you will inevitably have to deal with this individual. Emphasize professionalism and maintain talks that are succinct, direct, and free of profound personal content. The objective is to keep a professional and dispassionate demeanor rather than to surpass them. Position that eliminates the possibility of needless controversy and signals the message: I'm not here for the games, but for what really matters. Focus on the important things while keeping steadfast and unwavering in the look of apathy if the contempt continues to acknowledge the strength of withdrawing. This is not a sign of failure, but rather a calculated retreat, realizing that your energy is best used in elsewhere. Relationships and pursuits that make you happy and help you grow by deciding not to participate in an unfair conflict. You're not merely turning your back on a certain person, but moving in the direction of more potential possibilities, stronger relationships, and a more tranquil state of mind. Your approach to handling apathy does not indicate failure, but is evidence of your fortitude and dignity. Keep in mind, in some situations, the strongest and most respectable reactions to this can be quiet and disinterest. Strategy is practicing self-sufficiency and a silent declaration of independence. Reciprocal apathy. You're not only averting conflict, but also putting oneself out there as someone who prioritizes their own tranquility over the desire for praise or recognition, position that conveys assurance in yourself and a comprehension of your priorities and, in other words, ignoring limits does not constitute an isolationist tactic. However, a route to self-validation and individual empowerment, take control of your stoicism in the 21st century, serves as a roadmap for resiliency, drawing from the insights of history's greatest philosophers. Prosperity and well-being transform obstacles into victories, tension into strength, doubt into clarity. Click the pinned comments link right now to start your Stoic way to a successful and fulfilled life. Order your ebook now. Important tip: choose to be silent on purpose rather than react. Being indifferent is a means of maintaining dignity rather than a tactic for gaining advantage. Stoicism instructs us to use quiet neither as a means of provocation or manipulation, but as a tool for emotional analysis and introspection control in circumstances where expressions can be misconstrued or make conflicts worse. Choosing to be silent can help you keep your integrity and self-control, because it allows you to concentrate more on, instead of becoming mired in a vicious loop of unfavorable responses and feelings. When you are ignored and you choose to remain silent in response, stillness into a contemplative moment. It's an opportunity to comprehend your emotions, examine your ideas, and look for clarity. The intention is not to chastise the other person, yet in this quiet, there's a priceless opportunity to protect your inner serenity chance for personal development. It's better to open up to oneself than to close up to the outside world. Knowledge Stoicism suggests that we use these opportunities to consider our virtues. It's an opportunity to consider our principles and the way we want to engage with the world. Does this have an impact on me? What can I learn from it? How can I change moving forward? This kind of quiet is beneficial rather than harmful. It's a time to build character and match responses to one's own values. Thus, if you choose to remain silent, be sure it's a deliberate choice based on wisdom and self-care. It is a decision to refrain from lower-class activities such manipulation, retaliation, or malice. Rather, it's an acceptance of the Stoic refusal to reply, urging moderation and self-control. By engaging in this activity, you're not only avoiding the other person, but also establishing a strong connection with yourself. Keep your cool, concentrate on your own path, and exhibit Stoicism, ideal of calm in the midst of difficulty. Let your quiet be more audible than your words, more than words could say, and let your inner serenity direct you at every step. This intentional quiet is a potent reminder and an act of self-affirmation. That, despite everything, you are the most powerful healer and mentor in your own life. Apathy, you might discover the inner fortitude and discernment to overcome the consistently adhering to your morals and ideals, is a habit that transcends the current circumstance and offers a strong basis for personal development and fulfillment. 11th point, steer clear of appealing for attention in the face of Stoic philosophy's indifference, directs us to go deeply into our own values and independence, rather than pursuing acknowledgement when, if someone ignores you, it doesn't mean you should try harder to get their attention. On the other hand, it's a good time to reflect and confirm your own worth. Stoicism tells us that our sense of worth shouldn't change with the focus, or lack thereof, of others. It's important to remain steadfast in one's own direction, and realizing that your worth is unchangeable and unassailable, commit yourself to your passions and endeavors with an independent mindset. This is not about bragging to get someone to realize what they're missing, but about identifying the worth of what you provide. Take part in activities that will form relationships with individuals that appreciate you and foster you have a life to be proud of, and this attitude is a lively and proactive acceptance of your own existence, is about making such a large investment in your own development and contentment that seeking approval from others takes a back seat. So instead of pursuing transient attention, concentrating on your own growth, creating a life that fulfills you despite what other people may think. Let your self-assurance and assurance should be your compass, rather than a need for attention that transforms apathy into a chance to bolster your determination and deepen your comprehension of your own value, since you are the architect of your own life, and every decision you make should. By doing this, you're pursuing your own worth rather than seeking approval from others. Thus, by declining to ask for help, you are engaging in a type of self-empowerment. Attention. You are deciding to value your own worth over any external recognition that may arise. The ability to change how you view yourself, and consequently, how other people see you. The sincerity and self-worth that come from this mindset have a far more profound effect than any attempt to highlight your path towards a confident and alluring aura is created by self-improvement and personal fulfillment. This is the main lesson that Stoicism aims to impart about the value of depending on one's inner fortitude and value independent of their environment. Consequently, keep in mind that how you respond to indifference might serve as a potent validation of your own value and independence. 12th point, empathy and emotional detachment when confronted with kindness is the most balanced response to indifference. Nonetheless, Exercise caution when handling your emotional world. This does not entail taking a detached position, but instead defending your inner peace. It's normal to feel offended or annoyed when someone ignores you, yet Stoicism helps us deal with these circumstances. Offer a peaceful, tranquil heart instead of one that is tumultuous emotionally. Give a kind nod or a straightforward "good day" greeting without anticipating anything in return. Repaying your goodness should come from the heart, not from expecting. Building walls around oneself does not imply preserving emotional distance in reciprocity. Rather, it entails creating distinct boundaries. Realizing that although you have power over your own behavior, others are beyond your control. Responses. This emotional distance is an indication of strength, rather than a sign of weakness of power and dignity. It is a deliberate choice to remain unaffected by the deeds of others. By displaying a warm yet restrained demeanor, you convey your emotional state and don't let other people's disinterest ruin your tranquility. This strategy not only safeguards your mental health, but also gives you the capacity to combine kindness. This balance of Stoic knowledge can be powerfully expressed through emotional detachment, permits polite conversations while preserving emotional integrity. It's an indication of respect for oneself and for others, showing maturity and realizing that you must deal with rejection in life, not with resentment or melancholy, but with a constant sense of serenity and inner dignity, and maintaining this equilibrium results in a priceless discovery. Even in the apathy, one can yet have a respectful heart and a serene spirit. By developing this mindset towards others and oneself, you'll discover that while life gets easier, it also becomes more fulfilling, as evidenced by deep calm and steadfast regard for your own path, as well as the importance of 13th point. Keeping your troubles to yourself in the face of apathy may seem alluring, but Stoicism teaches we should value composure, which doesn't include acting as though nothing is wrong, but rather being internally resilient and without displaying affectation is not a lie. Rather, it is a sign of continue living your life with the same zeal and resolve as someone who has true inner stability, always as a display of your own abilities rather than as a show for others' strength. This focus is about acknowledging your emotions and not about suppressing them. Instead of allowing them to rule, use composure and self-assurance as your compass. What's within your power, what you do, how you react, and behavior. By carrying on with a confident life, you not only demonstrate to people your strength, but also tell yourself again. It's a subtle but effective technique, stating that your sense of value is independent of other people's opinions or actions. Basically, you are practicing by keeping your difficulties to yourself. The Stoic theory of emotional resilience says that you shouldn't hide your feeling, but controlling them to maintain your honor and respect for yourself. It's an example of knowledge and integrity, demonstrating that you are rooted in your own self and not influenced by outside forces. Circumstances. How you handle rejection is a reflection of who you are and how you deal with rejection in general. Inner fortitude and steadiness via these potent teachings. We learn how to use rejection as a weapon for success, keeping in mind that every setback you encounter is a step towards resilience, a Stoic lesson that teaches us to harness our inner strength. I want to challenge you to incorporate the ideas of Stoicism and resilience into your day-to-day activities. Rejection as a motivator for personal development rather than a barrier self-discovery is a perspective-changing process, so I'm eager to hear about your experiences conquering and triumphing. Don't forget to subscribe, activate notifications, and post a remark below to discuss your journey, acknowledge your accomplishments, and even Talk about your difficulties to demonstrate that you've learned from our comprehension and, above all, the skill of transforming any challenge into an opportunity to learn the art of Stoic resilience and maintain our strength and resilience together. Everyone, until our next meeting, stay blessed. Every conversation strengthens our community and advances our collective wisdom.